All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. Let's do a quick recap show. It will be this weekend. I'll mostly be focusing on Bitcoin, right? Because the stock markets aren't open. I've been really into the stock market this week, as those of you know, because I started trading once again. Let's go to screen share. And we will start the recap with the stock market, and then I will try to do some of your Q&A over on Bitcoin. I'm trying to get Leah Wald to come join us in this chat. Let's see if I can get her in here. I'll keep an eye on potentially her getting in here. And again, we go from there. All right, so here's the stock market today. The stock market opened right here at 9:30 in the morning, and it immediately started to sell off. Now, my portfolio was heavily skewed to the downside. And right here, my portfolio was making the maximum amount of profit today. And the market consolidated. And once again, on this 9 here, I should have just taken the rest of my profits, but I was pretty certain there would be an end of day sell-off because it's the end of a week. And considering how much the market has gone up this week, I anticipated that people are going to be too scared to hold their positions at the top going into the weekend. Unfortunately for me, because there were options that started to go into the money, I had no choice but to exit my positions at 3:15 because I just couldn't hold them anymore. But those of you that are options traders, especially going into Friday, liquidity really dries up and the spreads on those options significantly widen. So the spreads start to widen, liquidity crashes like a rock, and the probability of you getting assigned. So if you have sold options that are now in the money going into the last hour before those options expire, there's a high probability of those options getting assigned to you, and you don't want that. And if your account doesn't have the liquidity to take possession of those underlying shares, the exchange will automatically sell them for you, or they will liquidate other positions if it's part of a spread trade. And I was afraid that would happen. So I had no choice but to take the profit, whatever profit I had left today, at the worst possible time. And then I watched my portfolio going hugely into profit after I already took a small profit and totally missed out on the big profit. And that's just something that you deal with as a trader. I mean, I was a little pissed off, but you can't be that pissed off. Look, anytime you can get out of a market with a profit, it's always a good day. Anytime you can get out of a week of trading with a profit, it's always a good week. So I kept saying it's going to sell off into end of day. It's going to sell off into end of day. It happened, but it literally happened 30 minutes too late for my positions. It's just something that your portfolio has to be able to handle. I was happy my portfolio was able to handle it. And next week will be a whole new trading week. I pretty much liquidated the majority of my account. Let me rephrase that. I didn't get liquidated. I pretty much went into cash in the majority of my account. So right now, I believe I'm about 80 to 85% cash. And 2 days ago, I was 5% cash and 95% allocated to positions. So right now, I'm only down to about 15 to 20% allocated to positions. Okay, let's look at the markets and let's see what we got. I already got a question from Martin. Do you think the all-time high will come quicker now due to all the recent events, despite the retail side buying bonds to be affected? I'm assuming you mean about the stock market. No, I think it might take a couple of years for the stock market to get into a new all-time high. I do believe we'll be at a new all-time high before Trump leaves office in his second term. Excuse me, guys. Okay. Let's look at the S&P 500. So I did anticipate this bounce in the stock market to take us up to the 38% Fibonacci and then get rejected by the 38% Fibonacci. Now, we came up just shy of that in the S&P cash market. But if you look at the futures market, if I put the futures on the daily chart, and I remove this arrow, well, actually, the reason why these arrows are there is because I saw this like head and shoulders pattern, and I anticipated an 80-point drop to below 2,500 on the S&P. Didn't quite get there. We had like a 70-point drop, 80-point drop here, 90-point drop in the last 15 minutes. But I was anticipating it from this area here going down. Once we went up above this line, I knew my portfolio was in trouble. But I was really anticipating this 9 to be a 1 to 4 candle correction. And then we go down, break this line, and then accelerate to the downside. All right, let's go to the daily chart. Let me delete these. Don't need them anymore. The week is over, so don't need these anymore. Let's go to the daily chart in the S&P, and then we'll jump over to Bitcoin. On the daily S&P futures, you can see how we absolutely perfectly got rejected by this 38% Fibonacci. So the futures look a lot cleaner. There's no gaps in the futures market. And you can see how the S&P futures perfectly got rejected by the 38%. Now, the 38% is generally critical. We can go look at gold, for example. And if we look at gold, and I zoom out on the weekly chart, it's the monthly. Look what happened the first time gold rallied from its low into the 38% Fibonacci. It got rejected and went all the way down another 76% from that point, right? So it fell, well, 76% from this range, sorry, within the range, right? And it did make a higher low. So let's see if the S&P can follow suit. So now at this point, we take the S&P, and if we assume that tomorrow and Monday is going to be a down market, we can now put this Fibonacci set right here, and now your first level of support is the new 38%. That takes us down to 2460. Now, what happened in gold back in 2011 is we fell all the way down to this purple line that I have at 76.4. So let's see if let's see where S&P on a daily chart will rally once again. All right, let's shoot over to Bitcoin. We have about 400 live viewers right now. Restarted my computer, so charts would need to reload. Saving every Satoshi right now, waiting for price of Bitcoin to go up before I renew my TradingView subscription. If I can hold out till like the sales on for Black Friday, that'd be awesome. I don't think I can hold out that long. All right, so here's Bitcoin. Here's the daily chart. Now notice that the BitMEX funding rate is still favoring the bulls. It's still favoring the bulls, okay? However, the sequential is not favoring the bulls. The sequential gave you a 9 right at a critical resistance. Now, at this point, I am looking for a more significant Bitcoin pullback, but I am more bullish than bearish on the general picture. I believe that the low is in. Even if the stock market crashes to new lows, I think Bitcoin will avoid going to new lows. I'm no longer anticipating Bitcoin going below, 3,500. It can happen. If it does happen, I will be I will be a huge buyer, but I don't believe it's going to happen. I think that the low for Bitcoin is finally in. Give me 1 second, guys.
Hey.
Hello. Wait.
Hello.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Don't audio me.
My speaker was off.
Okay. Hello. We're desperately going for a coffee right now.
Hey, Thor.
Well,
there he
wants
is.
to.
All right, you're moving your phone too much.
Oh, okay. We'll stay put.
You have
Definitely
audio,
a lot to talk
we have
about in the
audio
markets.
distortions.
I'm trying to catch the beginning of the
I
show.
can't
Hey,
hear you
everybody.
anymore.
Audio issues? Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Then I'll leave.
Hey, okay, I can hear you again. All right, cool. Hey.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey. Markets are there's a lot to talk about is all I'll say.
Hey, thanks for joining.
Bye. Hey, come over to you're coming over to our book launch thingy, yeah?
Yeah. Well, where are we doing it?
On Socrates' channel in 1 hour. So
all right, hey guys,
finish up your stream and come boogie.
All right, in 1 hour, join us on Socrates' YouTube channel for the book launch.
Yay! Okay, bye, Tone. Bye, everybody.
All right. Say goodbye to Leah. All right. A little appearance by Leah. All right. Yeah, we'll be doing the book launch on Socrates' YouTube channel. Okay, let's get back to the chart. All right. So this here is indicating that, I'm going to trust the sequential on a daily 9, and it's bearish. Maybe it's only bearish for 1 to 4 candles, okay? But at the moment, this is a little bit of a bearish sign here. The weekly chart is bearish according to sequential, but bullish according to, a reality of moving from 3,800 all the way up to 6,800. Thank you, Patrick, for your little donation. So I'm going to go with the weekly chart is just not very useful right now. We have to wait and see on the weekly chart. So we have the daily to guide us, and the daily is sitting at rejection with a 9. So we need to simply break, 6850 for a breakout to at least the moving averages. In the meantime, we do have the def cross. We're kind of far from this def cross, but we do have the def cross, and we're about to have another def cross in 3 days. And that creates a pretty bearish posture for Bitcoin. All right, let's review gold. Gold on a weekly scale is, being all over the place, right? You had a price, you were looking very bullish, and then you had a price flip, and then you had a price flip, and then you had a price flip, and then you were looking very bearish, and then you had a price flip. So gold is a little bit all over the place. So I would not be, trading gold right now unless you're a short-term trader, like a day trader, right? As a day trader, you can certainly do stuff with gold, but not as a position trader. There was a buying opportunity here on the daily off the 9, but now you're pulling back. So Monday is going to be pretty significant for Bitcoin. All right. Next. Silver is consolidating, and there's not much really to say here on a daily chart. I'm hoping that it gets to a 9. Well, I'm hoping that it pulls back. I'm hoping that it gets to a 9, then pulls back. But for my personal trade, I'm no longer profiting above 14. So I needed to get under 14 by next month's option expiration. I'll provide more details on that trade once options expire. I can take a look at your live chat. I don't really have check out Tilray. I've been checking out Tilray every single day. I do have a position on Tilray, but my Tilray position is also not making me any more money because I sold the calls against it as well. So there was a limit as to how much money I was going to make on Tilray. In hindsight, that was clearly a mistake, but I didn't think it can rebound this much off the 9, but rebound it did. Holy shit. Those of you that took the Tilray trade, I mean, you're doing really, really well. That's one hell of a bounce. I mean, obviously, I'm bullish here across all levels. The weekly chart is still on a red 7, but it doesn't look like that's going to last. So, yeah, sooner or later, Tilray was going to break out. I mean, no, I have no reason to close my Tilray trade. It's not sucking up too much of my liquidity, and if it pulls back, my trade becomes better. So, like, I'm not losing any money. Like, it can go to infinity, and I'm not going to lose any more money. Well, I'm not going to lose any money, right? So I'm still in the trade because as the options that I sold lose time value, my trade becomes a little more profitable. So my trade makes a little bit of money with every day that goes by, but my trade is also not in any danger of losing any money, so there's really no reason for me to exit. Yeah, I actually started looking at USO because I do want to time the oil trade. I want to time the oil trade, so I do want to pick up USO, but USO is not going to give me a 9, which is why. Oh wait, this is my silver chart. This is, oh yeah, I was looking at 3D printing. Beautiful 9 right here. I mean, I wasn't looking at it at all. But yeah, 3D printing could be something to keep an eye on for the next wave of technology. Eventually 3D printing's got to succeed, right? Can't be a losing industry forever. So I started looking at USO in order to time the oil trade. Here's the monthly USO, and it's at an all-time low, but it's only on a 3 weekly. But you can't really use the counts. You got to use the counts of the actual oil. Oh, they're actually the same. There was a price flip here as well. So now you're on a 3 daily and you're on a 3 weekly. So you got a potentially a long way to go. So I'm not in a rush to buy into oil. Someone's asking you about TVIX. What is TVIX? No, it's a double X. I don't do leveraged ETFs. I think 2X and 3X ETFs are a scam. So I would never trade those. If you want to trade the VIX, is it VVX? No, it's the index. What's the ETF? What's the VIX ETF? I forgot the ticker. Whatever the ticker is. Maybe someone will mention it, but I don't feel like Googling. Yeah, someone mentioned, what do you call it? Under Armour. I do have a position in Under Armour. It went up a little today, but Under Armour was just downgraded. So I just felt that Under Armour, well, I know sports, they're not playing, but they're going to come back. And so I think Under Armour could certainly rally at this point, since I already have a position in Under Armour. I mean, I entered my position here. So my position is pretty much break even. I went into Under Armour on sequential and 13 as I saw the 9 bouncing the price. It was a 999 with the full completion of sequential on the daily scale. So that was my Under Armour position. Yeah, no. I'm obviously long Under Armour. I would never ever short any stock under $10. That's just crazy. I don't even like shorting stocks under $20. If I'm ever short a stock, it has to be more than $20, the value of a stock. VXX, yeah, VXX is the ETF. That's the VIX ETF. Yep, there it is. Yeah, so if I was gonna enter a VIX position, I would do it with this. I wouldn't do it with a double. I wouldn't do it with a 2X. I wouldn't do it with a 3X. I don't have time to get into why leveraged ETFs are a scam. Well, they're not really a scam, right? Let me not overuse the word scam. I think leveraged ETFs are provide a huge disadvantage to the retail investor. So just put it on a long-term scale and you will see how it only has one trajectory, and that's to the downside. So I would rather enter this than a 2X ETF. Someone is asking me if BSV can flip BCH. I honestly couldn't care less. Let's see what else you guys got. I mean, we talked about this def cross on the daily. I mean, it kind of matters, right? But then again, did this golden cross matter? And the answer is no, it didn't matter at all. So does this death cross matter? I don't know, but it's not tradable. The reason why it's not tradable is because it happened in such a big distance away from the price. And this death cross, sorry, and this golden cross wasn't tradable either because it happened so much further away from the price. That's not, and you were coming off a 9 going down. So it's kind of relevant, but not that much. All right, let's talk about the economy a little bit. So if I pull up further about the economy, hey guys, please support. Check out the channel. Oh, this is the Vays store, and you can buy stuff there. But also, hey, if you like this program and you want to support without, donating any money, please use the affiliate codes on tonebase.com affiliate page. If you're looking for a Bitcoin debit card, or you're going to use TradingView, or you're going to use any of the exchanges like eToro or Bybit or Deribit, please use the affiliate codes. All right, I'm going to go to my Twitter. And I don't really look at Twitter all that much, but I happened to run across a tweet by Tour de Meester, who referenced Plan B, and it says 100 trillion USD is Plan B, who has that stock to flow model. And it says Plan B brings a potential revival of bank bail-ins in response to the COVID virus crisis. Basically saying the banks, by applying haircuts to depositor balances, Cyprus style, in my opinion, he's right to be concerned. I discussed the possibility also here. That's a 2013. See, back in 2013 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 18 and 19, a bail-in was a concern. I personally see no concern in the possibility of a bail-in, none whatsoever. Because at the moment, governments around the world are scared shitless. Every single one of their people is going to be unemployed. And an unemployed person is a very angry person. And the last thing any government wants to do to an angry person is take away their money to bail in the industry. So for me, the probability of a bail-in over the next 3 years is virtually zero. Like, I think Bitcoin has a higher probability of going to zero than there is a chance of a bail-in either in Europe or America or Canada or Australia, okay? Because based on the bills that the government is signing, they're begging people to borrow money to prevent their small businesses from failing. So there is no way in hell that they're going to use people's deposits to bail in banks. The reason why banks were kind of bailed out with a bail-in-ish notions like in Cyprus was, and I wish Tyler was here so we can discuss it. I really don't really have anyone to discuss this with, which is unfortunate. That's why Tyler was, such a unique individual. I see your comment, My Dog Blue. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. So for me, the probability of a bail-in is virtually zero. The government is trying to do everything they can to give you money. And what they will do is they will use the banking system to give you money. And then they will tell the banks that they will, potentially forgive those debts if the people can't pay or whatever. But you can also see this as like a backdoor bank bailout. This gives the government the ability to print money to bail out the banks that may not be fully liquid under the disguise that they're helping the people. They couldn't do this last time. So last time was very, very different. Now, let's talk about cash. So there is a comment here. Keep withdrawing cash from the banks. Well, okay. I don't want to be all over the place here. Let me just finish my Twitter thoughts. So let me turn lights on. Hold on. I also only have 15 minutes because I have to end this stream at the top of the hour. So the other thing that I mentioned is this is actually the time where negative interest rates make sense because they're about to loan businesses a lot of money. And they want to make sure that this money ends up being used for businesses to pay employees. So if I was in charge of putting together one of these bills and a small business with, let's say, 20 employees was about to borrow $250,000 from the federal government in order to make sure that the business stays functional, I would put a lot of stipulation on that loan. One of them would be you're not allowed to convert that loan into cash. Another one is you're not allowed to do anything with that money other than use it for the business through the banking system. So it has to be fully traceable because they're loaning you this money at potentially zero interest or very close to zero interest. They can even give it to you at negative interest, right? They're giving you money and the money is sitting in your bank account and they're going to charge you a negative interest on that so that you use the money. And of course, I would not allow that money to be used for stock buybacks or trading or real estate purchases or even Bitcoin purchases, right? Like the $1,200 that the government is sending you, yeah, that comes with no strings attached. But if I was the government creating those loans, as we talked about on the law show yesterday, so go ahead and please watch that law show. If I was the government handing out business loans, I would put a stipulation on that you can't transfer this money into, say, Coinbase or any other speculative investment. It's not to be used for investment. It's to be used to prevent your business from failing. Now, the US can do this very, very easily. Europe cannot. Europe cannot do this easily. So that's why I had to send this follow-up tweet. In order to clarify, because the United States has federal debt, US can do this. Europe does not have federal debt. So I think Europe is in a lot more trouble than the US because Germany seems to have, no one seems to be dying from Corona in Germany, but a lot of people seem to be dying from Corona in Italy. So when this is all said and done, the Italian economy could, or Spanish economy, could be so freaking different than the rest of Europe that there could be fallout. And this Europe can't do what the US is doing with their Fed. And I can totally see the euro currency breaking up if there is all this economic insanity going on in Europe. And if the euro breaks up and you're sitting in Italy or you're in Greece or you're in Spain, you're in trouble, right? Because then they're going to lock up your money in the bank and they're going to convert your euros into their country's currency. and that currency will immediately devalue. So they're not using the money they're not confiscating your money to bail in the banks, but who cares? Your 50,000 euro just turned into, I don't know, 100,000 lira, and that 100,000 lira buys you what 10,000 euro did yesterday, right? Meanwhile, the euros in Germany all of a sudden are very, very valuable, and 1.5x the price of the US dollar. So I can certainly see some of these European countries, the euro breaking up. And if you are in a country like Italy or Greece or Spain or I don't know, maybe a few others that are, potentially in trouble economically, you may not want to keep all of your money in euros. You really do want to diversify. I mean, US dollar is a much safer safe haven for you. Of course, there's Bitcoin, potentially there's gold, right? But there is a possibility that your country will leave the Eurozone. And then you won't have access to your money if that happens. Now, back to the big question. And thank you for, I mean, it's a comment, but I have to follow on the comment. The comment is, keep withdrawing cash from the banks until they run out of cash. The banks, because of the current environment, this is what they want. Maybe that's not what they want, but they'll happily take that. If everyone runs to the banks to withdraw cash, that is, it's like that's the definition of never let a good crisis go to waste from the government. Right now, imagine this scenario. I'm going to cut the camera for this. Everyone in the US, and I'm going to be US centric here, but it works the same in Europe as well. Everyone in the US, all right, I'll show my camera. All right, everyone in the US rushes to the bank and withdraws cash. And now the banks have no more cash. So what happens, right? Because the government knows this is, it's like the toilet paper situation. See that toilet paper right there, right? Why did everyone run out and buy toilet paper when it was completely irrational? Completely irrational, right? I came back to the US. I have like 3 rolls of toilet paper in my house. Plenty, okay? Why were people buying toilet paper by the bulk? And what happened? Well, stores ran out of toilet paper, and was there a toilet paper collapse? No, right? Because now if the virus was some kind of a gastrointestinal issue where everyone needed, a roll of toilet paper a day, there could have actually been like real panic, right? So what happens when you run out of toilet paper? You just run out of toilet paper. So I know we're kind of paper money is almost becoming like toilet paper right now, but what happens if the bank run out of paper money? You know what happens? Nothing. In this environment, nothing happens because the government knows that the banks are not in trouble here. It's not a banking solvency problem. So if the banks run out of cash, the government is going to come out and say the following: you people are idiots. It's just like you were buying toilet paper for no reason. You are rushing to take your cash out for no reason. So now that the system doesn't have any more paper cash, you have no choice but to use your credit cards and debit cards. Your money is safe at the bank, but we will not print additional cash because you idiots are being irrational. In fact, because you idiots are being so irrational, running for cash when there is absolutely no justification for this, we are going to prevent your stupidity in the future. And we're going to have even less cash going forward. So thank you, people, for showing your irrationality and bringing us closer to a cashless society. Now, this would be awesome for Bitcoin, okay? Now, if this was 2008, if this was a banking crisis, if the banks were actually failing, then the government cannot go on TV and say, everything is fine, you guys are just being stupid and irrational by taking all your money out. They can't say that. They couldn't say that in 2008. They couldn't say that in Europe in 2011. They had a huge banking crisis in 2011 in Europe as well. So when there is actually a banking problem, then people are justified to have a run on the bank. Okay. Is BTC dropping? So do you guys understand the difference? I'm trying to explain it as best I can, but there it goes. There it goes. Like I said, I was leaning bearish here due to the 9. Where's my daily chart? There it is. Yeah, there's the 9. There goes Bitcoin. I am expecting a 1 to 4 day correction. I don't think we're going to go down to 4,400. I really think that, 55, 56 will hold us up. People seem to be upset with my comment. How can you say there's no problem with the banking system? Relatively speaking, compared to what the banking system was in 2008, and then again in 2011 in Europe, the banks are like a well-oiled machine right now. I'm looking at your live chat. Tone, the Italian lira in 2000 had almost double the buying power than the euro currency. Yeah, but that won't happen now. That wouldn't be the case now. Did the lira even exist in 2000? Well, wasn't the euro already there? All right, I'm checking your live chat. Yeah, so there goes Bitcoin. Oh, the daily candle just flipped. So I am looking for a pullback here. I'm only looking for a 1 to 4 candle correction. I'm not looking for this to be a full-blown, crash in Bitcoin here. It's possible. I mean, I'm prepared. I'm prepared to buy Bitcoin at 2,800 if it gets there. I just think it's a little unlikely. How long until the euro collapse? I honestly don't know. I think it'll happen this decade. I can't see the euro existing in its current form by 2030. I don't know what safe is. What stock is safe? Safe hold. Oh, whatever company this is, they're doing well. I have no idea what they do. Oh, hey guys, it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. I gotta go. I got a call. I'm already 1 minute late for it. Hope you enjoyed the little economic talk that we had. And this Bitcoin drop was kind of predictable. I mean, you were at resistance on a TD9. You may not like sequential, but it works more often than it doesn't, right? Here's a 9 buy. Here's a 9 sell. Here's a 9 sell. Here are your last 3 arrows on a daily Bitcoin scale, and I don't see how you can deny its relevance. All right, guys, I will leave you there. Please support with the affiliate page. And other than that, I will see you all probably tomorrow, but on the weekend, I may actually get some work done because I've been trading all week. Catch us in 30 minutes on Socrates' YouTube channel for the Hyperwave book premiere with Leah and, of course, Socrates himself. I will talk to you all on the next one. Bye, guys.